Modern-day Jerash was previously a Greco-Roman city referred to as Gerasa, or Antioch on the Golden River. For simplicity's sake, I will use the name Jerash to describe the ancient city of Gerasa for the remainder of this video. Jerash is said to have been founded by Alexander the Great as a place to retire many of his Macedonian veterans in 331 BCE. When you look at the topography of Jerash, it certainly had elements that may have reminded these Macedonian veterans of home. Although Jerash was a prosperous city during the Roman period, it largely was not at the center of significant historical events. Its present popularity and importance is due to the excellent state of preservation, particularly of several structures dating from the 1st and 2nd centuries CE, including the Oval Forum, Hadrian's Arch, the Nymphaeum, Temple of Artemis, and the North Tetrapylon. One of the first structures you'll visit when you enter the archaeological park is the Arch of Hadrian, erected to honor his visit in 130 CE. Throughout 130 CE, the Roman Emperor Hadrian was on a tour of his eastern provinces in present-day Syria, Jordan, Israel, and Egypt. It would have been a particular honor for a city to host a Roman emperor, and not at all uncommon to erect a monument for such an occasion, although this particular arch is extraordinary in size. As a tourist, you'll be walking through the Arch of Hadrian, past the Hippodrome on your left, where horse racing took place, and arriving at the Oval Forum with the Temple of Zeus on one side and the main road of the city called the Cardo Maximus on the opposite side. Despite the Roman love of the square and rectangle, the Forum at Jerash is a very strange yet beautifully incomplete oval shape. The answer to this may be that the Cardo Maximus, the main road, is not perpendicular to the Temple of Zeus. Connecting these two cannot be aesthetically accomplished with a square or rectangle shape. From the Oval Forum, you should head north and enter the Cardo Maximus, the main road of the city, always oriented to as near a north-south axis as possible. This is a wonderfully preserved Cardo. The sides of the streets are elevated to avoid any flooding, mud, and refuse that typically collected on such streets. The columns on the side of the road would have supported a covered walkway, which in turn fronted shop stalls. An example of this is seen in the insert picture here. A covered walkway would have been considered quite a luxury in antiquity and speaks to the importance of the Cardo Maximus. Cardo in Greek means heart, and the road was essentially the economic heart of the city, with vendors and shops lining it. A fun thing to look out for while walking the Cardo are the sewage drains and cart tracks worn into the stone. In many Roman-planned cities, there would be a major east-west street called the Decumanus Maximus that would intersect with the previously mentioned Cardo Maximus, which was typically oriented along a north-south axis. Jerash is unique in that it has two Decumanus Maximuses, a north one and a south one. As you walk north away from the Oval Forum, you come to the first intersection. All that remains at this intersection of the southern tetrapylon, a type of monument, are its four bases. A fully intact northern tetrapylon can be seen further down the road. As you continue walking past the intersection, you'll come to the Nymphaeum on your left. The Nymphaeum is a monumental fountain on the Cardo Maximus. Nymphs were minor female nature deities tied to a specific landform. In this particular case, the Nymphaeum was naturally dedicated to Naiads, or freshwater nymphs, which fits with its use as a freshwater fountain for the city. During the earlier Greek period, a Nymphaeum was a shrine to nymphs, typically in a rural cave or grove with no architectural adornment. However, by the time of the Imperial Roman period, even though the area was still consecrated, it also served as a public water source and a civic monument. We see further evidence of this as we take a look at Trajan's Nymphaeum in the city of Ephesus. The Nymphaeum here in Jerash is a two-level alcove, with the upper level likely adorned with statues of nymphs and a lower level where water flowed from carved lions' heads. As we walk north past the Nymphaeum, we see the Propylaeum, or entrance to the Temple of Artemis, on the left. Going up the stairs, we encounter some very impressive Corinthian columns, standing 39 feet tall. Artemis is the goddess of nature, childbirth, wildlife, the moon, the hunt, sudden death, animals, virginity, young women, and archery. The worship at Roman temples was strikingly different from many modern places of worship, particularly in its transactional nature as well as animal sacrifice. An animal sacrifice, or a lesser food or other valuable offering, was often used to conclude an agreement with a god to fulfill a request by the petitioner. So, in this case with Artemis, one might sacrifice an animal to ensure a healthy pregnancy and childbirth. Of course, one can surmise that the larger the animal, the more likely that such a request would be fulfilled by the deity. We finally come to the second intersection, where the north decumanus intersects with the Cardo Maximus. At this intersection stands the fully intact northern tetrapylon. A tetrapylon is a cube-shaped monument built on crossroads with 4 gates. From here, I recommend turning left or to the west and heading up the slope to get a better view of the entire ruins, as well as to explore some of the lesser-known structures. It is important to note that there are both Christian and Muslim structures mixed in the ruins from the later Roman, Byzantine, and Umayyad period, which would not have existed at the time of Emperor Hadrian and early Imperial Rome. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe.